Hey friends, so today we want to talk to you mainly about diffusing, and we want to talk to you about the Young Living diffusers. But what I want to tell you, what I want to start out with is talking about like why you shouldn't be using the candles and air fresheners, why you want to diffuse oils, and why you want to use the Young Living diffusers. So first of all, let's start out here. Why shouldn't you be using candles? I am always like, I will raise my hand. I had them all over my house. I had the Bath and Body Works plugins all over my house until I learned about them. And many of you may be in the situation that some of us were, you just don't know. And so after learning this, this is why we want to give you this video so you can know about it. I know that they smell nice, but those scents are made from synthetic chemicals and they're labeled as fragrance. And what I'd like to tell people and put it in simple terms is like, okay, show me, you see that pumpkin spice candle that you think smells really good? Show me where that pumpkin spice plant is. Yeah, there isn't one. Or like, show me where the key lime pie plant is. There isn't one. It is a synthetic candle. So many of those fragrances. So if you flip over and look on there, you'll see fragrance. That is what the chemicals are. They themselves are rated up there with cigarette smoke for allergens. Here is one crazy thing. Do you know that 1 hour of burning a candle has the same harmful effect as smoking a single cigarette? Okay, I don't think we want our kids or our family around that, right? Candles actually reduce the air quality. An easy thing to think of too is like many of us have white ceilings. And so if you ever come in and someone's painting your home and then they go and paint the ceiling and you're like, oh, wow, God, wow, it's so much brighter. Well, think about that's because of the candles and what is happening. Think about what your lungs look like. That should put it into perspective for you. Phthalates are often found in the scent of candles and they're linked to the allergic reactions and asthma related products. So if you have people in your home with respiratory issues, yeah, think about what you have in your home. Paraffin is found in many of the candle bases. It's a petroleum byproduct. The American Lung Association actually warns that when burned, these candles release the carcinic chemicals into the air. The most dangerous toxins are in your home. This is said by Dr. Menke, who many of us follow a lot of stuff that he does. So you want to stop that poison. If you are toxifying yourself, it is really hard to get well and help your immune system. And synthetic fragrances are the most dangerous toxins in your home. If you don't get rid of these, the bioaccumulation is going to happen and it will affect your respiratory later on in life. Many times I know people will say, oh, it's just a little bit. It's just a little bit. It's just a little bit. It really matters. And we heard the other day, I know, like, I think one of our RCDs, Brenda, had said, well, what if I just put a little poop in your brownie? Just a little bit, just a little bit. Yeah, it really does matter. So one of the things, if you've never done this, is if you get rid of like your laundry soap, your candles, your plugins, your hand soap, do it for a month. After a month, notice how you feel. And I bet you when you go walk through that aisle at like a local store and you smell these, like whether it's the laundry soap or the candle aisle, I bet you it will stink and give you a headache. So imported candles, if you get candles that are imported, I know it's hard to tell with that. A lot of times they have lead in them. It's supposed to be banned, but it's still coming from imported, so you don't always know. The scented ones are similar to fumes from car exhaust. Questions come up many times about soy. Oh, I'm using soy, it's okay. Do you know that according to reports, about 98% of the soy produced in the US is genetically modified? GMO soy is not the only problem. Many of those soy candles have a combination of soy and paraffin. So unless it's clearly labeled as 100% soy, yep, you don't want to be near them. A spokesperson for the Federal Trade Commission said that there is no restriction or regulations governing the makers of aromatic candles. And according to the FTC and the CPSC, which is the Consumer Product Safety Commission, there's absolutely no regulation or standards pertaining to candle manufacturing or the candle makers, and they're accountable to no one, including the consumer. So I don't know about you, but that should turn you off for your love of candles. I know that was probably an easier thing for me to go through my cabinets and throw those out. Let's talk about the hormones. And I'm telling you guys these things because we all like the scents in our home. And so the scents that we're using, we really need to pay attention to that. Hormones and candles are a bad combo. Candles and other synthetic fragrances found in like your air fresheners, your laundry detergent, your dryer sheets, your lotions, your shampoos, they have endocrine disrupting chemicals that play a significant role in your hormone imbalance. You know, people always wonder and say like, oh, I'm having menopause issues, or like we're really crabby. You guys, that should not be a common thing. It really shouldn't. And, you know, I know many of us grew up thinking that it was. It's not. How could something that you inhale damage your hormones? Well, here's why. Because your sense of smell is closely connected to the hypothalamus region of your brain. And that is where your body's entire hormone production process begins. So synthetic fragrances are going to disrupt that right at the beginning. So why use like any of these plugins or candles if you can get an incredible aroma that will actually boost your health and support it? I think you want to be using the Young Living oils. So something that we all should be doing daily is diffusing essential oils. Now, not just any oil, you want a Young Living oil. We are going to talk about that in necessarily in this video, but here's why you want to be using these Young Living oils. It's going to clean your air of airborne pathogens and reducing bacteria, fungus, mold, and odors. Okay, hello, who doesn't want that? It's going to support your immune system, so you're less likely to get those icky bugs that come around. Supporting your respiratory function. It increases the oxygen availability in the air. It increases your body's ability to transport oxygen and nutrients to your cells. It helps your mood, uplifts your spirits. Many essential oils are going to improve concentration and mental clarity. Think about kids doing homework. Think about you maybe doing work, needing to focus, and it's going to promote a restful sleep. Who couldn't use more of that? So in a simple term, I want to tell you about oils. There are oils everywhere. Amazon, Bath and Body Works, the Whole Foods, local grocery stores, co-ops, they're all over. These have really started to come out and about over the last few years. I remember Gary Young saying at a place a number of years ago, he goes, just wait and watch. There are going to be people that want to jump on this bandwagon and they're going to appear. And they have. We all are seeing that. So you get an idea so far about quality matters. For 25 years, 25 plus years, actually, Young Living has been the world leader in producing and guaranteeing 100% pure, potent, therapeutic grade essential oils that are plant-based products. They've got this thing called seed to seal, and that places them in a category that is higher than any other company manufacturer in the world. Here's the thing that I tell people, the US labeling laws in the United States, anyone can put 100% pure oil on that bottle as long as there is 5% oil. Yeah, so when you're putting that on, you're not getting the full constituents in there. So the seed to seal means that from the time that that seed is planted and is sourced until it is put in an essential oil bottle or plant-based product, Young Living is the highest company that you can get. All other brands are not the same. So you cannot just go to any co-op and get an oil and put it in and think it's the same thing. Bonnie and Sarah and I, we've all been to these farms. We have planted the seeds. We have seen the distillery. We've harvested. We've done that. You cannot do that with any other company out there. So here's the big question. Why should I purchase a Young Living diffuser over these cheaper ones that I can find on Amazon or the health food store? I get that question all the time. So here's my answer for that. The short and sweet answer is quality. Okay, so let's get a little more in depth on that. There's this little ultrasonic frequency. It's a little silver plate that is in these diffusers, and it generates waves in the Young Living brand at 1.7 million times per second, meaning that that mist that is coming out of your diffuser is created, and the particles of the essential oils are very small, and there are a lot of them. So this means that they can reach longer distances, and you are getting greater therapeutic benefit from them also. And they're a nice, easy size for your body to absorb. It's these little teeny things that go through. Otherwise, like if you had like a marble isn't going to go through your skin, but these little teeny molecules are going to go through your skin. So the ultrasonic plate is the way the oils are diffused, and it doesn't change their compositions, and there is no therapeutic benefits that are lost. Another thing that is super important on why you want to have a Young Living diffuser is that the ultrasonic plate will actually separate the water molecules. And so what happens is they become negatively charged. Okay, I know a little chemistry, but some of you that like that, that's what it is. And that is where the mist will rise from the diffusers. The oils are released into the air along with these negative ions, and the ions actually will bond to the positive charge-free radicals that are all in the air. And that is what's going to help purify the air even further than the oils themselves would do alone. Okay, yay for science, right? And of course, they're made from the high-grade plastic that is designed to not wear or tear with the potent therapeutic grade oils. So just like a cheap oil at the grocery store, they are in no way the same one as a Young Living one. The same as with the diffuser. Cheaper diffusers are not made with the same high quality, and they are using non-toxic materials. So think about what you are breathing. You are not getting the fine mist or the therapeutic benefit, and it probably will leach onto the plastic that they are using, which is why they're selling them at a cheaper price. It really does matter. So remember that. Last couple like little tidbits to finish up, like just so you guys know about some of this. So diffusing the oils, it's with the structure. It's gonna, instead of masking the odors in the air, it's gonna get rid of them. It takes 20 minutes for an oil to affect every single cell in your body. That's pretty cool. When you diffuse the oils, it's going to create a calm, peaceful, joyful environment. It's going to help when people aren't feeling well. You're going to put them on. You're going to be able to sleep. It gives that oxygen into your brain. One of the best things that you can do for your home is be diffusing. All the properties that is going to do, it helps reduce all the junk that is in the air. I know we can't see it, but it is actually there. So you want to be doing these things. And one of the #1 places to protect your body is right at home. You have the oils, we have the diffusers, they're going to do amazing things. One of the things that we've learned as Bonnie and I have put our diffuser books together is that there's so many recipes that are out there. And like, you know, and I used to do the same thing. And we would be like, oh, that's a cute graphic, let me go post it. And they didn't smell good. So we have spent over an entire year, like tens of thousands of drops of oil, like probably about 1,700 recipes. We have created the most amazing recipes for you guys to use that you have available, and we're doing them by season. So Sarah and Bonnie, why do you like our diffusers? What is your favorite thing? What have you learned over time about the difference in diffusing?
So one of the things that I wanted to mention on top of everything that Kara shared is that our oils have a frequency, and it's like not something you see, but you just have to know, because frequency is one of the things that affects us from an emotional level, and actually is why our oils are so potent to help physically and emotionally and mentally and all of those things, because of the frequency of the oil. And it's a measurable thing. I mean, our oils measure anywhere between 52 megahertz all the way to 420 megahertz, depending on the oil. And like really good food is like down in the 12 megahertz like thing as far as a frequency to help your body. So and I won't go into it. We could do another video completely on frequency, but I did want to mention this because it really does make a difference. We get so used to diffusing in our homes and knowing that we're creating an aromatic, healthy environment. But part of that is the frequency level. The oils themselves have such a frequency that creates that atmosphere. And I wanted to just share a testimony about that. So about a year ago, my husband was in the hospital for 3 months, like a long time. And it was COVID, and I wasn't allowed in there until they told me he was going to die, which he didn't. But one of the things that happened was when I first was able to go back in the hospital, his room was, it was an ICU room. There was all of these machines going on. They were playing some weirdo music stuff. And it was like, whoa. And like the nurse was kind of prickly even. And, it's just, I don't even know how to describe it. So I immediately had them turn off the music, said, we're not playing that. And because, it's a frequency, like music has a frequency too. And like, from a spiritual and emotional standpoint, it was like, this is not the kind of music we want. And I put a diffuser in and I started diffusing, and I think it was 12 drops of frankincense and 4 drops of joy. I'm pretty sure that was my recipe in the diffuser. And I immediately put that in the room. They allowed me to do that. And for 3 months, and we did change the recipe a little bit toward the end, but literally 24/7. And the nurses actually would put that in for me when I wasn't there, but 24/7. And within like a couple of hours, the complete atmosphere of his room changed. And you could feel it. And I had a friend with me, and he had come into the room too, because they had told us that Jerry wasn't going to live through the night. And so we were sitting with them, and they basically he made the same comments, like that the nurses, it was like the prickly nurse all of a sudden apologized to us and was really nice. Everybody that came into the room was like, oh my gosh, it smells so good in here. Like, I don't know if you know this, but hospital rooms generally stink. Like, they are nasty. But just running the diffuser 24/7 with this amazing frequency, and like frankincense has a really high frequency, so does joy. We completely changed the whole atmosphere of his hospital room. And it was such a noticeable difference that, I'm just saying, it made such a noticeable difference. Plus, I felt like we're helping his health, and all of that. So that's just a testimony that I wanted to share. And I know Kara mentioned our books. They're so cool, you guys. So I'm going to just do a quick plug, but like, this is one of our favorites, the Serene Spa book. But we have all of these recipes in here. It's a beautiful book, makes a nice gift, but they're so much fun. And this one, I'm just showing you a couple of them, Winter Wonderland, and yeah, so they're fun to use. And I know Sarah uses them too, but it's really nice to have this amazing recipe to put in your diffuser every day. So that's what I've got.
Okay, I want to also say I 100% love the book that I just put up. That's my favorite. If I'm having a bad day, I will grab the Serene Spa diffuser book, and that's usually the one that I pull something out of, because all the recipes in that one are fantastic. They have a lot of different books, and I absolutely love all of them, but the Serene Spa is definitely one of my favorites. So it's funny that you pulled that up, Bunny. Okay, so Kara touched a little bit on negative ions. And if you have ever gone to Niagara Falls or like any falls, and you've spent any time outside and you feel like you can breathe better and you're very relaxed, and like there's a noticeable difference when you're around that is what a negative ion physically does to your body. So if you've been using a diffuser and it's not giving you the same benefits that you would get if you go to a waterfall like Niagara Falls, then that's the difference. Like, you can physically feel the difference between the diffusers. And some of the benefits to having a house that's rich in negative ions, and there are really, really expensive machines out there that you can purchase that you can fill your house with these negative ions. Negative ions actually stimulate your immune system so that it can fight better. Negative ions change the way your serotonin levels are in your body, and it has a positive impact on your mood. And then negative ions actually increase the way that your body absorbs and utilizes oxygen and gets it into cells. So it is like this, having negative ions in your house, having a house that's rich in negative ions is going to have a very, very positive impact on your health and your mental and emotional wellness. Now, just like Bonnie, I've used diffusers in hospitals. I've seen a complete 180 in just the way that the person who's in the room is being treated by the hospital staff. Not that they're bad people, but they're stressed out. They don't have a ton of time. And sometimes you want to feel like you are the only person that matters to them, and like your loved one is the only person that matters to them. Diffuse, like seriously, diffuse. You do not have to be demanding. You don't have to throw a fit. You turn the diffuser on and watch everybody who comes near that hospital room do a complete 180 in the way that they talk to you, and they change the way that they do patient care. And then you're also helping to support your whoever's in the hospital room, their response, their immune response while they're in the room. Just a testimony on like how powerful diffusing can be. We have 2 dogs. When Dom was a puppy, we had to socialize him. Like that's one of the things that you're supposed to do with puppies. You're supposed to try and get them to interact with 100 different dogs within the first 6 months. And we happened to get him during the lockdown. And one of the things that we struggled with was, how do we get Dom to interact with other dogs? Like, what do we do? Well, they opened up the dog park and we went immediately. And then the dogs got kennel cough. And I was just like, what the heck? We're trying to do something good. We're trying to do something positive. We're trying to create a situation where our dog is going to be the best version of himself by exposing him to these other dogs. And all we did was get him like really sick. And it was one of those things where we got woken up at 4:30 in the morning. No vet was open. We just had to kind of figure out what it was. I mean, we had been woken up repeatedly, but we finally figured out what it was at 4 a.m. And I grabbed my animal reference book. And of course, one of the first things that they say for anything like that is to diffuse, diffuse, diffuse. And we very, very aggressively diffused in our home to keep the air clean, because every time they coughed, they'd be spitting stuff out that we didn't want in there. We also cleaned the house, but we diffused, and our dogs had completely reversed like all the symptoms that they had from the kennel cough in 3 days. And they were both completely over it within a couple days after that. It was amazing. Like the vet I called, they were like, I don't know of any dog that can get over this without antibiotics. And I'm like, okay, well, if we need antibiotics, I'll call you. I didn't need to call the vet. It was amazing, like how well they did. And I felt like it had like a huge impact on them. But just being able to load up the diffuser and sleep, like help our dogs sleep, because that's what their bodies needed. They needed to be able to sleep to rest, made a huge impact. Now, I will tell you the one negative side effect to diffusing. I'm sorry, ladies, you're going to have to dust all of that crap that is in your air. When the diffuser goes up and the water is in the air and it wraps around it, like the dust and the dirt and the hair and the skin cells and the pollen and all the other crap that's in your air, when that gets wrapped around with the moisture that's going into the air, it pulls it down so that it's no longer in the air. You're not going to be breathing it in, but you do have to wipe surfaces. That is the one negative side effect that I have seen from diffusing. I don't know if anybody else is like in the same boat with me, but like I don't like to dust. But I do notice if I diffuse a lot, I dust a lot. So when you're dusting, tell yourself, I'm not breathing this in. My kids are not breathing this in. My husband's not breathing this in. It's a good thing. I hate dusting, but I would much rather not be breathing all that stuff in.